Hi, Loren. Thanks for taking time to talk with me today. It's been a 2 year journey for you with us, and now you're at the end of that journey. Congrats to you. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us about what that journey looked like. I'm sure that you have a lot of insight to share with anybody who's curious to see what the Left Fashion Lab experience is like. And we've just enjoyed having you on this journey with us. So thank you for taking the time, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Nicola, for giving me the opportunity to learn and develop some skill sets under your team. I really enjoyed the past 2 years, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Good, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is just thinking about where your mind was or what the thoughts were going through your mind before you started Le Fashion Lab. If you can remember what was going on at that time.
Yep, so I think I was about 25 and just got promoted at my job, but I still felt like I wasn't fulfilled with what I was passionate about. And I know I told myself that even though I took a job in finance, that I was going to find a way to get back into fashion since I got my undergrad in fashion merchandising. And at the time, I was actually enrolled at SCAD. And I was so frustrated because in order for me to even start taking fashion design classes, I had to take a lot of prerequisite classes like art history and just like a lot of classes that I felt like weren't going to help me become a better designer, but it was required for the BS fashion design program, and it was very expensive. And I remember after an entire year at SCAD, I think, and I was taking classes part-time while working full-time online and in the evening. I was just in debt, like $14,000, maybe more than that for the first year, and felt like I hadn't learned anything. So I was upset. I had to reassess. I had to figure out a new game plan because that wasn't working. And I felt like I wasn't getting any closer to my dreams.
Got it. And so specifically you just mentioned some of them, but what were some of the fears and frustrations you had? I think you just mentioned you feared that you were getting further and further away from your dream.
Yep. So I was scared that I was going to continue wasting time. Well, I don't say wasting time. I was scared that I wasn't going to accomplish my dreams because it seemed like I was just getting older, and I was scared that I was going to get sucked into my day job and lose the passion altogether and not ever go back to school. And then I was frustrated because I felt like I was trying and the first plan didn't work. It just caused me more debt. And it wasn't ideal with my work schedule either. It was mostly online. Well, I guess it was somewhat ideal. It was online and then a mixture of evening. So I was in class from like 5:30 to 9. And then my boss arranged like a deal, like kind of a thing where I could leave class or leave work at 2:00, go to class and log back on. But it just wasn't working. And I was just frustrated. I felt like I felt I had such high expectations at SCAD and thought they were going to give me like this awesome experience, and it just seemed like more roadblocks.
Got it. Roadblocks mainly because of the financial aspect and also because you were taking a lot of classes that you felt weren't getting you where you wanted to go, right?
Right. Like, I understood the purpose of prerequisites. Of course, you have to take certain classes before you can, get to your concentration. But I think for what I looked at the curriculum and I knew what classes I wanted to take. But in order for me to keep my scholarship from the school, I had to be degree seeking, meaning I had to do the entire, 4-year degree, as opposed to just taking certain classes out of that program.
Okay, so you were pursuing the 4-year degree even though you already had a fashion merchandising degree.
Yep, and a lot of my prerequisites a lot of my credits from USC didn't transfer over.
Got it. Okay, all right. And what were your dreams and desires at the time?
So at the time, I think I just wanted to become a technical designer. And eventually I did want to open up an evening wear boutique. But my goal was to get out of finance and land a technical designing job.
Got it. Okay. And
Carter's or
what did you say? Repeat that for me.
I was saying at Spanx or Carter's or somewhere local in Atlanta.
Got it. Okay. Were there any obstacles that you had to overcome?
Are you referring to at that point in time or like while I was at the fashion lab?
Yeah, at that time, were there any obstacles that you had to overcome on your journey?
I think just like trying to encourage myself to not give up, like, because it was a lot of times where I just kind of wanted to throw in the towel and just say like, you know what, I'll just stick to my 9 to 5, maybe just do like fashion blogging on the side, like, and like really like reminding myself like, you know, I had this dream since I was a little girl and I shouldn't let it go to waste. So it was just a lot of times that I just wanted to give up.
Got it. And we'll get back to that soon. So, all right, let's talk a little bit more about, so in researching other schools, why did you ultimately choose to enroll at the Fashion Lab?
So when I was researching schools, I was looking for a couple of things. I was looking for a school that could work with my work schedule, a school that was affordable, a school that was local, and I was appealed when I saw your story. I think I was like reading, I was on your website, or I might have been on your LinkedIn. I can't remember, but I saw that you had previously went to SCAD. And I was like, how interesting. I remember I was sitting in Starbucks with one of my friends, and I was telling her like, I have to figure something out because I can't keep spending money at SCAD. Like, me and my parents were going out of pocket half on tuition, and it was just like horrible. And I said, I have to figure this out because this is just obviously not working. And when I saw the website and I said, you know, this seems like the perfect program. And I think someone had sent it to me a while ago before that. And I was so attached to going to a big name school like SCAD that I was like, oh, like I just turned down the suggestion. And then when I looked at it again, I was like, this might be like exactly what I need. Because I remember that I felt in my classes at SCAD that I wasn't getting that intimate one-on-one, like interaction with my teachers, or, you know, if I could go to them for questions. I remember feeling like I was sitting in a room with 30 kids and we weren't getting the attention we needed. And I wanted something that was more inclusive, something that I felt like could work with my lifestyle. And then even reading like the student success stories, I felt like it was a good option. So that's kind of what appealed to me and why I contacted you in the first place when I was interested in getting in one of the programs, and I was interested in, you know, seeing what curriculum you guys offered. I remember seeing like pattern making and I remember seeing the pattern making and the design. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to recall exactly what was going through my mind at that time. I remember being like so interested and I like excited because I saw my mom. I was like, Mom, these are exactly the classes that I needed. I don't have to take a million prerequisites. Like, it just seemed like the perfect fit with everything that was going on at the time.
Got it. Okay. And tell me a little bit more, because I know you already had a bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising. Why did you feel like you needed to go into fashion design?
Yep. So fashion merchandising is like the business aspect of fashion as it relates to retail management or visual merchandising, being a buyer. And the only reason that I majored in fashion merchandising was because my school didn't offer fashion design. And I actually started off as a business major for the first 2 years. I was a business finance major with a minor in fashion merchandising. And I was at that point in college, I had written off the thought of becoming a designer. It wasn't even something that was on the forefront of my mind, because I think my parents kind of just, well, my dad more so than not my mom. My dad just told me like, go to school, get a degree in business, like you'll always have a job. Like not that my father wasn't supportive, but I think he was more so scared like of me not being able to get a job when I graduated college. And so I changed my major my junior year, and I figured like, nope, I still love fashion, and I want to have at least a career related in fashion, even if it's not design. And so I enjoyed the program at USC. I think they have a great fashion merchandising program, but it's still, at the end of the day, it wasn't close enough to what I wanted to do, because I knew I wanted to make clothes. I didn't want to sell the clothes. I wanted to make them myself.
Got it. Felt like you were a true designer and you still weren't close enough.
Yeah.
All right. So we spoke about your mindset before starting the Fashion Lab. Now let's talk a little bit more about when you first started, coming up to the middle of the program. What was different than you expected?
What was different?
Was there anything different? Maybe there wasn't anything different.
I don't know. I honestly didn't have like too many expectations going into the program. Like, I just knew that you guys had what I needed, and I was just there to like soak up whatever knowledge was there. But I didn't really have any expectations of what it was going to be like.
Got it. Okay, no problem. All right, so here's the next question. How would you say your perspective, your knowledge, and skills changed as you went through the program?
So I think initially my perspective of fashion design was a little bit smaller, like in terms of career options. I was so set on like just becoming a designer. I didn't realize, you could be a pattern maker, a seamstress, you could be a technical designer, or you could be, you could drape. Like I didn't realize there were just so many like avenues that you could go with fashion. You could be a freelance designer where you design for other people. So I think that going through the program helped me realize like there's so many opportunities or so many options that you can, or just so many different ways that you can be a designer. It's not a one size fit all. And really having to like understand where your strengths are and like figuring out how to make a career off of like what you love and what you're good at, like finding that balance in between.
Got it. So overall got more exposure about what fashion design really was as a career.
Yeah.
Okay. What was a great benefit you hadn't expected?
A great benefit, I think, was, I honestly feel like it was the interactions with our professors. I feel like being in school so many years and like, not saying that I didn't have great teachers and professors in the past, because I did, but I feel like we had a lot more, we spent a lot of time with Miss Marva on Saturdays. And I feel like it made learning fun. It made, I feel like it made me more open to go to Miss Marva or anyone for questions about anything. It almost just felt like a small family. Like I didn't think that we, like our program would become as close as we did.
I guess that's what happens when you spend 2 years together too, right?
Every time, every 2 years. Yeah, and it's like you gain like friends. So
that's really,
that was an unexpected benefit.
Okay, that's really great. That's sweet.
Yeah,
and while you were going through the program, did you face any fear, any frustrations or challenges?
Yes, I was frustrated with the amount of work, but I knew it had to be done. But I was only frustrated because of my work schedule. It wasn't like I didn't want to do the work. It was just like I put work above a lot of things, and I know I shouldn't. And so I would get frustrated with myself because it would just be very overwhelming. But it wasn't overwhelming it wasn't overwhelming in reality. I think I was just juggling a lot of things. So at times I would feel frustrated, like dang, like I'm gone 4 or 5 days of the week and I have to figure out how to do this while I'm away and working 12 hours a day. And then when I come back on Friday, like that would usually meet my homework night. and then like, I feel like for, I don't know, there was a point in time where I was just very, very frustrated with what my life had become because I was barely home. And when I was home, it was school and like catching up on sleep and then right out the door on Sunday. So I at some point I was just kind of like trying to not go through emotions. Like this is very hard.
Yeah, you do have and did have a demanding 9 to 5 that required you to travel a lot. So, and you were out of town a lot. So I can understand that that must have been frustrating too, to balance the schoolwork on top of it. Oh.
Yeah, but it was still a good experience.
Good. All right. Did you face any triumphs or victories along the way?
I would think so. So I didn't realize that I would be a good drawer. And I'm not an amazing illustrator, but I was surprised because I hadn't like drawn since college that it would be something that I would enjoy and be good at. And it's something that I do want to continue to improve as well. But I was like, art's so subjective, you know, you can look at something and call it art or think that it's hideous and somebody else might call it art. And so I was just thinking like, what if I draw and it comes out like a horrible stick figure? But it didn't. Like, I feel like Rashika did a great job of teaching illustration and it was something that I really like picked up on and enjoyed.
Yeah, you did a good job. Your illustrations look really, really good. All right. How much time would you say you spent practicing per week?
To be honest, not enough, but I'll say on a bad week, 0 to 1 hours. On a good week, 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. Okay. Yeah, we've been telling people or prospects that for the 2-year program, we'd recommend more like 5 hours per week, just to keep on top of everything. But I know it was because of your work schedule why you weren't able to maintain that.
Yeah, but 5 hours probably would be ideal.
Okay, all right. What was the most exciting thing that you learned or accomplished?
Most exciting thing.
When you think about all of the classes.
I think pattern making was like very complex. Like, I feel like it was a combination of using your, like you had to use a little bit of like mathematical geometry, like a little bit of geometry, some of those skills, but also like understanding how the human body like works and how clothing like sits on a person's body. Mm-hmm. That was a really cool skill or a cool class to learn. And I feel like it was also, it wasn't hard towards the end. I'll say like, as the program progressed, obviously the classes matured and there were times where it was a little difficult, but I think that was a victory to finish.
Yes, okay, good. So pattern making was something exciting. And what would you say were some of your favorite subjects or classes?
I think illustration, number one, was my favorite because it allowed you to be creative. And as I mentioned before, pattern making as well. I think that it allowed you to use your problem solving skills. So I enjoyed that as well. Draping, I like draping as well. I'm still learning draping. Like I'm still trying to teach myself how to drape some things, but I can see that down the road being something that I enjoy. Like once I get a better I think once I get used to playing with different kinds of fabrics, that'll be something down the road that will become more exciting. But I enjoyed all of the classes. I thought they were all.
Got it. Okay. So you're feeling really good about pattern making, and then you continue to explore your draping skills at this point.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now we're thinking more towards the end of the program. What have you achieved, and what would you say you're most proud of at this point?
I feel like I feel like my final collection was probably the biggest achievement. I didn't think that things that I drew would ever come to life. Like that's always been the gap, is like, oh, like you can sew or you can draw, but can you make what you drew? Like I was always uncertain that would ever actually happen. And seeing them come to life was like an achievement for me, and made me realize that I could do it. And like it was like the investment in worth going to school and putting in the hours every Saturday, like really paid off.
Great. Wonderful. Yeah. And specifically, maybe you feel like you've answered this before or already, but let me ask it again anyway. Which goals would you say that you accomplished for yourself?
So for myself, I'd say going back to school to learn fashion design. That's like number one. I always wanted to study fashion design. And I never thought that I could do it without living in New York. And number two, I would say improving my sewing skills. They're still not perfect, but a lot better than they were. And realizing that I could draw.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to list a couple of different skills, and I want you to, if you can, remember how much you'd rank yourself out of 10 before you came to the Fashion Lab, and how much you'd rank yourself out of 10 right now, so we can get a gauge on how much you feel like your skills have improved. And you just mentioned sewing. So let's talk about fine sewing techniques and how to finish garments professionally, then versus now.
So then I would say 0. I didn't know any type of fine sewing techniques. Now I would say like a 5 to 6. I'm still not 100% confident when it comes to zippers and like just small finishings, but those are things I know I have to practice.
Got it. Do you feel like you learned, but maybe you just didn't practice them enough?
Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
Okay. I just want to be sure.
Yeah.
All right. How about how to make patterns then versus now?
0. I had no knowledge of how to make a pattern. Now I feel like an 8. I feel like I can make majority of the things that I want to make.
Got it. Okay. How about your fashion sketching and illustration?
I would say beforehand, my illustrations were like a 2. They were very flat. Now I would say maybe like 7 or 8, somewhere in between there.
Okay. How about putting together a fashion portfolio?
In the beginning, I had 0 knowledge. Now, I think overall I could put together a fashion portfolio. So I'll give myself a 9. Or
your project looks pretty good.
I feel like, and I told myself that I was going to continue to like do those whenever I launch my line, because I want to like see all of the lines every season that I put together. And eventually, like I do want to get a manufacturer when I can afford to one day. So I'm going to continue to make portfolios.
You should. They're helpful for many reasons. They're helpful for you so that you can keep your collection close to what your vision was. Otherwise, you can get a little scattered. When you get to that point where you have a design team, it helps to keep them on the same page. And then if you ever do go into a corporate career, it's good to have them as portfolio pieces so people can see what your work is like, and that's what they use to make hiring decisions. So definitely, I think it's one of your strengths, and I don't want you to lose it. So keep working on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And how about how to come up with a design concept and bring it to life with your garment construction skills?
I would say like about an 8. Well, sorry, prior to this, 0.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say about an 8 now, or maybe a 7.
Got it. Okay. And then a very straightforward question. Are you happy with the skills you gained at the Fashion Lab?
I am. I'm extremely happy. I feel like I learned all of the gaps that I've always wanted to learn. But prior to going back to school, and I feel like it gave me the confidence that I needed to really execute on my goals and my dreams to start my bridal line.
Got it. And now we're gonna do some questions to wrap up and in conclusion. So first question in that segment, what do you wish you'd known when you joined the Fashion Lab? Anything comes to mind?
What do I wish I'd known? Maybe the amount of time that I needed to dedicate to my studies prior, but I'm sure that I already knew that. Actually, I think, yeah, I might have been like, you might have told me that in our first interview, how much time I would need to dedicate if I was to join the program. But I think at the time, it wasn't an issue because I was transitioning from jobs. I think I had just left my old company and started a new one. And so I didn't realize that my lifestyle was going to change so drastically with that. It's like I started a new job and school at the same time. So it was hard, but so I guess, yeah, going into school, I wish I would have known how much time I needed to dedicate towards my studies, because I probably would have made a different career choice, maybe.
You mean with your 9 to 5?
Yeah, well, I probably would have not taken the travel job, or I don't know. Actually. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what you would have done? But that's good to know, though, that you wish you had known up front how much time you had to dedicate to your studies. I think that's helpful. Yeah. And before I get to that next question, you mentioned earlier that you'd known about the Fashion Lab a bit before you started SCAD, but you felt like you needed to go to the big brand name, like a traditional fashion college. Mm-hmm. How do you feel now?
I feel like I made the right choice. I feel like everything that I thought that I could get at a big name school, I still got at the Fashion Lab. And no shade to SCAD, it's still a great school. They have a great program, but I think for what I needed, this was a good fit.
That's it. And what would you say to any prospects interested in the Fashion Lab? Any words of advice?
Yeah, take their studies seriously and really put the effort in if it's something that they're passionate about.
Got it. And the very last question, when you think about it, who would you say is an ideal Fashion Lab candidate? What traits or desires should this person have?
I think the ideal candidate doesn't have an age or a gender I think that it's someone who is passionate about fashion, eager to learn, and just really like hungry to learn everything there is about the design process.
And do you think this person has any particular traits?
Yep, I think, sorry, I'm not answering the question. And I think that they're hardworking, ambitious, works well around others, because I feel like the Fashion Lab's a family and we don't do drama there.
Exactly.
And just like open-minded, like very open-minded to learning new or different ways to accomplish one thing.
Got it. Got it. Well, Loren, it's the end of your 2-year journey with us, and it has been such a pleasure, because you mentioned too that it feels like a family, and that's exactly how you guys felt over the 2 years. And I know that's exactly how Marva feels. So I hope that you won't be a stranger, even though you're done with us for this chapter, but we'll continue to be there to support you in your career if you ever need us. Okay, and thanks for spending time with me today to chat a bit.
Thank you, Nicola. I will not be a stranger. You guys are always family, so don't be surprised if I'm knocking at the door.
No, we won't. We'll welcome it.
All right.
Thanks, Loren.